Madeline, do Sea Org members need to be at a certain level on the bridge to become a member? Are all staff members and Sea Org members at the level of clear? Staff versus Sea Org, what are the differences in benefits? As a staff member, did you get room and board? Okay, Madeline, so so you're asking here about these levels of involvement, which I have explained in detail in earlier Critcal Q&A episodes, but I have not actually ever had the question posed about the requirements of case level, so that's interesting. So no, you do not have to be any case level like clear or have had a certain amount of auditing or anything like that in order to join the Sea Org or join Scientology staff. In fact, they get tons and tons of recruits who have had very little or no auditing experience. But it's hard to make a hardcore person who's going to be ready to join the Sea Org without giving them some auditing. But my point is there are not requirements for what level you have to have attained in order to join the Sea Org, right? You can be very low level. You could have had one session. They generally, the kind of very arbitrary, very opinionated, but very true requirement that they definitely want for Sea Org members is they want somebody who calls themselves a Scientologist, not just some guy who's walking in off the street who's never heard of the subject. They don't want that at all. Always difficult and hardly ever successful, like 1 in 1,000 who makes it as a Sea Org member who walked in on day one and didn't know anything about it. So they generally want Sea Org members to be Scientologists. For staff members at Class 5 orgs, not a requirement necessarily. You can come in off the street and say you're looking for a job, and they'll go, okay, well, we don't necessarily promise you a whole lot of pay, but, here's the working thing, and here's the this, and here's the contract, and they'll sign somebody up, and they'll get new staff. But even those guys, they want to make them Scientologists as quickly as possible. At least get them through some Scientology books, some basic courses, and get the person to say, on their own volition, I am a Scientologist. That they very much want, especially now. I don't imagine that they'd be very welcoming of somebody just coming in off the street and saying they wanted to join the Sea Org or even join staff. As staff members, do they get room and board? No, not as a regular general course. They do not. They just get a very, very minimal amount of money, and they usually have a whole job or life outside of their staff member position. There you go.